Obviously, there's a lot of discussion about the investment that YouTube made in original channels, and people are starting to ask those questions now. Well, is it working? And we could definitely say overall it was an amazing investment, and it worked incredibly well with regards to changing perceptions of the content that's on YouTube. The idea is to get marketers to understand that there is premium content on YouTube. And so this was an absolute major step, along with the digital content new fronts, in changing perception about native digital content, that content, that video content can be premium. But then we have to also look at the numerical side and the quantitative side. And so at first it's a little bit hard just to kind of look at YouTube and say, well, is it doing well, is it not doing well? You see it on an individual basis, but you don't really see it on an aggregate basis. So what we're doing at Outrigger Media is developing the definitive source of actionable information for marketers about native digital video. And when we look at the new YouTube channels, we see some pretty cool stuff. So what we've created with our product OpenSlate is we've created something called the Slate Score. And the Slate Score measures and ranks native digital video. And it's doing it on the producer level on YouTube specifically. So when we look at the Slate scores for the content, it's very similar to a credit score. It's a 3-digit score. It's based out of 999. It's taking in over 30 different data points out of YouTube, creating ratios and other mathematical tools to index and rate and understand and create this number that is comparable from one producer to another. And one of the things that stands out for us is that SourceFed, as one of the new channels, is doing incredibly well. It is really in the top 1% of all YouTube producers overall, and it's scoring incredibly high overall for itself and against its category. Alongside there, you also see Numberphile is doing pretty well, and one of the original ones in Geek and Sundry. These are channels that just started late in the year in 2011 and are already in the top 10 of all the producer channels. So we see that as being something that's really standing out. For example, as the time we're filming this, SourceFed is at 745. That's out of 999. The top, though, that's being measured right now is 819, and that's Rooster Teeth is in that position. What we're doing is we're taking into account things like monthly views, overall views, daily views, subscribers, how people engage with that content, the consistency of production, the influence of that content, taking in all these data points to produce this unique metric that gives you a standard way of looking at it and measuring quality based on quantitative numbers. We're pulling about 35 different data points out of YouTube. The interesting part is how we're applying logic and thought behind it to create this unique number. And so that process is what's unique to us, the little black box calculations that we're doing to create this overall number. Alongside that top number, that 3-digit score, is also a number for engagement, consistency, and influence. Because we feel that those are also things that you should be able to index and measure. And those are out of 100. So on engagement, we look at how do people actually engage with that content. And again, it's all the relationships of this information. It's not just taking the data and adding up the numbers and getting a number. It's really looking at how people really use that data, use this information and compare it across their averages and their peers and all that to get these unique numbers. In its simplest form right now, what's publicly available is you can go in and you can see the scorecard for an individual producer for that channel. And you can get a number for that channel, you can get some basic information about it as well. Right now it's a great tool for marketers who are considering doing brand content, who are considering working with a creator to understand how good that creator is and how good are they relative to their peers. Okay, so very simple tool right now to go in and get that data. Eventually what we're looking at is creating a mechanism to measure and then make actionable decisions on this information that you can then buy media against, video advertising in particular. You know, one of the things that we constantly look at is Hulu sells out its inventory on a regular basis because advertisers consider that to be premium content. Whereas out of the top producers on YouTube, you're looking at maybe 10 billion video views out of those top partners, or 8 to 10 billion, some number like that, out of 16 billion. Yeah, YouTube is only running, according to ComScore, 1.6 billion ads, or fewer than 2 billion ads. So there's a big gap between what they're really running ads on, video ads, and what they can be running ads on. And what we feel is that there's a missing metric about content. You get a lot of audience data, you get a lot of psychographic and buying behavior data, but at the end of the day, you don't really know what you're buying against, and this is what's meant to fill that gap. Definitely as a media planning tool. It's a media planning and then eventually media buying tool. That's what we're going to be moving towards. We will be integrating with DSPs. We will be integrating with trading desks, again, as a third-party data source that you can light up and then buy against. So we'll be a very key tool, not only on the planning side, but also the buying side for media.